Hi everyone, this is Scott Dudley from Funnel Fella Radio, and we're up to episode number 23 today. So far it's just been basically me going through a series of marketing case studies, but I've decided to branch out a little bit and start to interview some marketing experts around the globe. And today it's my pleasure to welcome Mikael, founder and CEO of both White Coat Digital and also Funnelytics. How are you going, Mikael? Excellent. So can we get into, maybe we'll start off with your background and how you got into funnels?
So I got into the world of funnels back, I think, in 2012, very early 2012, late 2011. I was learning all this sort of stuff around marketing tactics, and I learned a lot of stuff around selling online, affiliate marketing, building review websites, SEO, ranking on Google, and all of these kind of tactics around like how do you make money online. And then one day I stumbled across a guy that you're very familiar with. His name is Russell Brunson. This was back in 2012, like very early, and he had a program called .com Secrets X at the time. And basically, in his VSL, in his sales video, he explained the concept of a funnel and a follow-up sequence, which I had never thought about before, right? Just capturing a lead and turning that lead into a buyer. And that's really how I got into this world of funnels. Like from there, I just went all in. Like I saw that this was the answer to how do you turn a stranger into a customer, right? And it has to be methodical. It has to be measurable. And once I really started understanding the concepts of funnels, that's when a lot of things changed for my businesses and for myself.
Excellent. Yeah, it's a lot better than just having a website, which is just basically an online brochure.
So yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So for those of us that don't know, can you tell us a little bit about Funnelytics and what it provides for its users?
Yeah, so Funnelytics, it was something I built out of my own kind of need, my own necessity, which is basically, while I was running my agency, which you referred to earlier, White Coat Digital, we were selling funnels as a service to our clients, right? We were helping them set up their landing pages, their sales pages, basically the entire funnel, and we would send traffic to it. And this was back in, I started my funnel agency back in about end of 2014. And at the time, ClickFunnels had just come out. It was still relatively new. The concept of funnels was still very, very niche. And explaining funnels to people was very, very difficult, right? Because they didn't know what the hell I was talking about. Like, they didn't really understand it. So we had to kind of diagram out these pieces, and we got a person on, I think, on Fiverr to create little icons for us. Then we would upload those icons into PowerPoint, and we would draw arrows and connect the funnel together, right? And show our users that, or our prospects, that this is what we would build for them.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the day, measuring the results of these funnels was always a massive pain, because you'd have to look at charts and graphs and spreadsheets. So I thought, wouldn't it be really cool if I could just map out my funnel onto a canvas, just on my computer, just drag and drop, almost like a lucid chart or a diagramming tool, and then just hit a little button and see how people flow through, see what my conversion rates are from point A to point B, see where the drop-offs are, just visually be able to overlay my data on top of this funnel map, just like I would on a whiteboard. And that was the idea. That was the concept of Funnelytics. And we went and built that tool. And that's kind of our core business now. We've scaled this relatively quickly, and always continuing to make it better and all that stuff. So yeah, that's in short.
So it's sort of like the perfect example of solving a problem for yourself and then using that system to then sell to other people, isn't it really?
Yeah, exactly. It was really to solve a problem for myself, and
Yeah.
And eventually it just led into its own little business, I guess.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. So we've gone into your background a bit. So are you able to share what projects you're up to currently?
Yeah, I mean, Funnelytics is the only thing I think about. A program for funnel agencies and people who sell funnels as a service. It's called Fast Track, which you are a part of, actually. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so this is kind of the two core focuses. Really, we help funnel agencies. We help people who sell funnels as a service to systemize their actual agencies and leverage Funnelytics as a tool for their clients. And then of course we sell Funnelytics as a tool by itself. So those are kind of our two core projects that we're 100% focused on.
Yeah, and the two projects, they fit in together perfectly too. It's like a marriage in
Exactly.
heaven. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Cool.
whole point, right?
Yeah. So, all right. So, other than Funnelytics, what would you say your favorite tools or platforms that you like to use to build and optimize funnels?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's not so much about the tool itself as it is about the functionality and the what you're trying to get the tool to do for you. So, like for example, there's basically 5 phases of a funnel that I like to think about, and this is how I also optimize funnels. So I'll kind of marry those two thought processes together. So the first phase is the conversion point, right? Which is like your order form and afterwards, right? So the minute somebody puts in their credit card, and then the upsells, the downsells, all the way up to kind of that thank you confirmation page. So for that standpoint, ClickFunnels is really great. Samcart is a really great tool. There's a bunch of those are my kind of 2 favorites, but there's a bunch of tools that allow you to make that conversion point happen. Now, of course, this is if you're selling something online. If you're getting people on the phone or e-commerce, that's a separate, probably use separate tools. But if you're selling like a digital course or or something on, that's, you have to think about that conversion point. So Samcart or ClickFunnels. Then you've got the actual sales. The next step is the sales mechanism. So what is the mechanism that you are using to drive people to that order form, right? So whether it's a sales page or a webinar or a mini class or whatever is that sales video, like what is that mechanism to drive people over to that conversion point? And there I'll use anything like ClickFunnels. I'll use Elementor on my WordPress. If I'm setting up something on WordPress, I'll use Elementor as a plugin. I will use EverWebinar or Webinar Jam or Zoom if I'm doing a live webinar. EverWebinar if I'm doing a kind of a pre-recorded webinar, or I'll also use ClickFunnels. So that kind of covers that sales mechanism. Then you've got, like, in order to get people to that sales mechanism, it's usually you have your follow-up sequence, right? So you've got to convert that person into a lead, and then you're going to follow up with them, right? So Drip or Active Campaign are my favorite tools for that follow-up sequence. In order to generate leads, you've got to actually like convert a stranger into a lead, get them to give you your email address. Bunch of tools there. Unbounce, or again, ClickFunnels. One of my favorite tools is ClickFunnels because it kind of covers so much of this.
Yes.
ClickFunnels for lead gen. And then of course, then you have to drive traffic to these landing pages. And of course, that's where ads come in. Depends on where your dream customer hangs out. So Facebook ads, LinkedIn, doesn't matter there. So yeah, that's the list of tools right there.
All right, just quickly, what about something for optimization? Like, do you use a Hotjar or VWO or?
No, I use Funnelytics. Yeah.
Oh, okay, for the whole thing. Yeah, I see.
Yeah. So the only thing I'll use something else for is, yes, sometimes I'll install a heat map if I'm really, really stuck as to like what's happening. So a Hotjar. But ultimately, I don't care so much about the individual page because I can see a lot of that data inside of Funnelytics. If you know how to use Funnelytics properly, you can get most of that information that you need through Funnelytics. But when I'm running a split test, I'll usually run the split test inside of, inside of ClickFunnels, right? I'll just usually do always a A/B test, like 2 URLs. I'll never do, sometimes I'll use Google experiments or something like that to just, which is basically BWO. So those are kind of the tools on the optimization side.
All right, no worries. So just off the top of your head, is there sort of like an example of a marketing test that you've done that's just provided some bizarre result that you never thought was possible?
Yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of marketing tests in the past. There's always a lot of kind of ideas around like what you should do, and kind of people follow a playbook too often. But once you've done this for long enough, you start to realize that following the playbook is going to get you playbook results, right? It's going to get you kind of your average results.
Yes.
And the only time that you can go beyond that is by experimenting with new ideas and trying new things that people don't necessarily talk about. I'll just one off the top of my head that I can think of. When I first kind of launched Funnelytics, or the second time I think I launched Funnelytics, the second beta group that I brought in, I did something that I never really seen before, which was a launch within a launch. So what we did is we opened up the cart, and I wanted to try to get, like, I think 150 or 200 people. I don't remember the exact number, but I wanted to get 200 people to buy. And I didn't really care how long it would take. I just wanted to hit that 200 because the number of people mattered more than the amount of revenue for me. Like, it wasn't about that. It was about how many people can I come in so I can get them to test my product and all this stuff. So I opened up the cart, say on, again, I don't remember the exact days, but let's say it was on a Thursday. So on a Thursday, I opened up the cart, and then I keep promoting. And then around the Tuesday or Wednesday of the next week, I started to notice that sales just, it started stagnating, right? Like, there was a big peak, and then it started kind of dropping off. And I was like, okay, how can I get the momentum back? How can I get that momentum to come back? So what I did is I built a very, very quick, simple sales page with a very simple 3-minute video. I took a piece of the core offer and I segmented it out, and I said, all right, over the course of just this next weekend, so from Friday up until Sunday, I'm going to only promote this one thing. And then the upsell is going to be the main thing that I want people to buy to begin with. So for over 5-6 days, maybe 7 days, they were being told, go buy this thing, go buy this thing, go buy this thing. And then as I got, the message kind of started fading a little bit, right? Because people were getting bored and tired of hearing me tell them to go buy this thing. I switched it up and I said, hey, for the next 72 hours, I'm going to give you this thing, but it's at a super cheap price. And it was one of the kind of sexier pieces of this, right? So for the next 72 hours, you can go and buy this thing. So now it gave me another excuse to keep going and saying, go buy this one, go buy this one, go buy this one. And I made this, the main thing, the upsell. And it just added an extra like $25,000 within, that 72-hour period of just getting people to buy this small one and then upselling them to the bigger one. And then I retransitioned back to kind of keep pushing this by saying like, hey, we're almost out of our spots. Go and buy. And then, so it was cool. It was like a launch within a launch. And it actually ended up creating pretty awesome results.
Okay, that's interesting. I've never actually heard of that. That's good thinking.
Yeah, no, I never heard of it either. I just decided to try it, and it worked.
Awesome. All right, so who were your marketing idols or the biggest influences on your career?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, obviously, like I said before, Russell Brunson was a massive, pivotal point for me. This was way before ClickFunnels, way before any of that stuff. So this is back in 2011, 2012. And he was a massive, influence in terms of my thinking around this stuff. Dan Kennedy, in terms of how I think about copywriting and all of that. And Frank Kern, of course, Ryan Dice, digital marketer. All of the guys over at Digital Marketer are fantastic. So, your typical kind of marketers, right? Your typical, the guys
Yeah.
who are moving the needle in this world right now. There's obviously others when it comes to running a SaaS business and not necessarily a marketing, not thinking about marketing, but thinking about SaaS. Eric Ries and the Lean Startup, all of that. So I've got a bunch of books here. So, anything related to SaaS and scaling and growth hacking and stuff like that has also been a pretty big influence in my thinking.
Yeah, I've been reading about Salesforce recently. That's a pretty fascinating story for a SaaS company.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So where can people go to find out more about Funnelytics?
Yeah, they can go to funnelytics.io, and if you want to learn about how to, really run your funnels as a service agency, go to fastagency.com, FAAS agency.com. FAST stands for Funnels as a Service, and or funnelytics.io if you want to get access to our tool and have some fun there.
Yeah, so it's a free mapping tool and you can get started on that. And then if you want to take it further, then you can upgrade to the main package. So definitely check it out.
Exactly.
All right, awesome. Thanks a lot for your time, Mikael. I really appreciate that. We'll call it a night or a day for you. And all the best. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Okay.